Good morning, good people. It is wonderful to be here with all of you. So in 2016, I participated in a very cool program called Presidential Leadership Scholars, where we had the opportunity to meet with former presidents. And one of the presidents that we had the opportunity to meet was President George H.W. Bush at his library in Texas. And about a week before the event, I had surgery to address a ruptured Achilles tendon and had to use a mobile device to be able to get around. But I did not want to miss the opportunity to meet the former president. And during that session, our class was able to speak to the people who were directly responsible for developing the Americans with Disabilities Act and actually wrote the legislation. And President George H.W. Bush said that it was the proudest moment of his term in office. We are here to recognize and underscore the importance of the Americans with Disabilities Act because this continues to be an evolving and living document. We are trying our best to update that document both from a policy perspective and a practical standpoint here in our community to address and ensure that everybody has the opportunity for inclusion in our community. We all benefit as a society and as a community and as a country and as a world when everybody can fully participate in all programs and services and to be fully present among us. Last year, my colleagues and I in the council unanimously passed an amendment to a bill that was an exciting bill that ensured that we updated parking restrictions to make it easier to build homes and housing opportunities in our community. But we wanted to ensure that as part of that legislation, that accessible parking was still a priority in our community. And so it's incumbent upon all of us, especially now, to make sure that we are doing all that we can in policy and in budget and in practice to make sure that everyone in our community can fully participate. We are joined here today by some outstanding individuals representing various organizations. I'm going to ask them to just quickly introduce themselves, the name and the organization they're with, and then we're going to hear from a couple of speakers and then read the proclamation. So just your name and the organization you're with.
Good morning, I'm Matt Barkley. I'm the ADA Compliance Manager for the Department of General Services.
David Dice, Director, Department of General Services.
Good morning, Kim Mayo, Administrator, Community Support Network in HHS.
Good morning, Seth Morgan, former member of the Commission on People with Disabilities and representing the National Multiple Sclerosis Society.
Good morning, Karen Morgan, Acting Chair of the Commission for People with Disabilities and with the Treatment and Learning Centers.
Good morning, I'm Sharon Norcio. I work with the Department of Recreation and I'm also on the IDD Autism Commission.
Good morning, my name is Trent and I am the intern of Project Search.
I am Stephen Yuri and I work at the Rockville Swim Center and was an intern at Project Search in 2015.
Good morning, my name is H. Zeze. I work with SEEK and I manage the Project Search Montgomery County program.
Hello, my name is Asante. I work with SEEK and I am an employment consultant.
Hi, I'm Marissa. I'm the Government Relations Intern at SEEK.
Good morning, I'm Katrina Kugel. I'm Government Relations Manager at SEEK.
Hi, good morning. I'm Shameen Anthania Williams, and I work with the Commission for Disabled Persons, and I'm with my daughter, Savannah Williams, who is a Special Olympian.
Thank you all so much, and we are so proud and honored to have you all here. First, we're going to hear from Mr. Matt Barkley.
Good morning, and thank you so much, Councilmember Albornoz and Beth working behind the scenes did a lot to pull this together. So thank you so much for this proclamation and this opportunity to recognize this important event. Just to take you back to 1990 when the Americans with Disabilities Act was passed, let's see, The Simpsons first appeared on TV to rival Cheers and Roseanne as the top shows on television. The Cincinnati Reds won the World Series. The 49ers won the Super Bowl. The top movies were Home Alone, Pretty Woman, and Dances with Wolves. The top songs were, let's see, I don't usually do notes, but I could memorize all this. Must Have Been Love by Roxette. Nothing Compares to You by Sinead O'Connor. And Vogue by Madonna. So so to put things in context, it took that long, even though that seems like quite some time ago, but it really isn't. And people with disabilities have, as long as there have been people, there have been disabilities, and it's a natural part of the human condition. And it took that long for us to have federal protections to ensure that people with disabilities have equal access to all the programs and services that state and local governments have to offer. According to the Centers for Disease Control, 1 in 5 people have a disability. And I think that sounds high, but it's really, when you think about all the different types of disabilities that there are with physical, sensory, substance use, mental health, it really isn't that far of a stretch to think of it as something that impacts a large part of the population. And from an equity perspective, people of color are more likely to have a disability. There's like I just said, 1 in 5 people in the United States has a disability according to the CDC, and 1 in 4 people of color have a disability. So really just looking at the modern perspective of people with disabilities and access. The old way of thinking was that I can't get into the building because I use a wheelchair or because of my wheelchair. But really the issue is that the building isn't accessible. It's a barrier to me, and it prevents me from being able to access whatever facilities. Now, like we'll hear in the proclamation, Montgomery County is ahead of the game, and what we're going to talk about today a lot is digital accessibility and some of the requirements that are prevalent as a result of that. The Department of Justice, it finally issued guidelines on digital accessibility. Ever since the ADA was passed in 1990, they said that websites, social media posts, etc., had to be accessible, but they didn't say what that meant. So now we know, and we have 2 years to implement that, the requirements. And I know Chris Daniel from TEBS was going to talk about those specifics, but he was unable to join us this morning. But thank you so much to all of you. Thank you to Montgomery County for what you guys do, and we'll strive to make Montgomery County a friendly place for people of all ages and all abilities to not just succeed, but to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those important words, Matt. I don't see Pat Sheehan. I'm not sure if Pat was able to join us, but I want to just say one last word before reading the proclamation, and that is the importance to recognize this is about dignity, respect, and equal opportunities for all. And we have to remember that in everything we do every day. So thank you all very much for being here today. I will now go ahead and read the proclamation. During the month of July, we are pleased to, whereas, during the month of July, we are pleased to celebrate the Americans with Disabilities Act. The ADA is a civil rights law and critical piece of legislation that protects the rights of people with disabilities from discrimination. In 1978, the Montgomery County Commission for People with Disabilities was established. The partnership between county government and the commission reflects Montgomery County's ongoing commitment to the goals of the ADA. And whereas the ADA is continually updated to enhance accessibility, to ensure non-discrimination across various platforms and services, keeping in step with evolving technological and societal barriers. In 2024, some important rules were established to the ADA that impact digital environments. And whereas one of the most significant updated rules to the ADA concerns digital accessibility, specifically for web content, social media, and mobile apps provided by state and local governments. This standard ensures that people with disabilities can access e-government and public information services without barriers. And whereas the U.S. Department of Justice's 2024 rulemaking on digital accessibility for Title II of the ADA adopts the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, version 2.1, level AA, as the technical standard for state and local governments' web content and mobile apps. Montgomery County is responsible for implementing these guidelines by April 2026. As was the case before the passage of the ADA in 1990, Montgomery County is ahead of schedule implementing these new rules thanks to the diligence of Chris Daniels and his colleagues at TEBS. And whereas the Commission for People with Disabilities estimates that approximately 98,887 people in Montgomery County live with disabilities according to the 2022 U.S. Census. The 2024 ADA amendments are a significant step forward for greater inclusivity, pushing for comprehensive accessibility in both digital and physical spaces. Now, therefore, be resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland, hereby recognizes the month of July 2024 in Montgomery County as the 34th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And be it further resolved that we celebrate the accomplishments that Montgomery County residents living with disabilities have made to enrich our community. With the introduction of AI and other digital platforms, we also commit to providing fully inclusive services, ensuring that people with disabilities have access to all of the wonderful programs and services that Montgomery County has to offer. Presented on this 23rd day on July 2024, and I have great news. Our speaker is here. And so I'd like to welcome Mr. Pat Sheehan. Golf, this is called Rip It and Rip It.
Well, thank you very much for being patient with me here. Forgot all about the traffic. Got caught in a big traffic jam. But anyway, it's great to be here, and thank you very much. This is a big deal. I've been working in this area for about 20 years, and having access to digital content is absolutely huge. Being able to, as a blind person, navigate websites, navigate documents, navigate forms means a lot to the blindness community. American Council of the Blind really supports this in the state of Maryland, and we've got a lot of people who are eager to see what happens. The good news is that there has been a lot of work being done in the last 20 years in this space. There are tools, there are techniques, and there's support out there for getting this project underway. So I would invite people to utilize the disability community. We've been doing this for a while. We want to make sure that Montgomery County is successful in what they need to do. Being able to prioritize what you want to look at, making sure your digital front door is accessible with accessible websites and documents and applications is a good thing to do. It makes a huge difference for Maryland and for people in the region who want to use goods and services. I would say that the American Council of the Blind and the people within Silver Spring area have a lot of expertise in this area. Please utilize people with disabilities to help ensure that documents, websites, applications, and all of that are accessible. There are lots of tools and techniques, as I said, that we can share throughout the federal government. Have been doing this for a while. There are commercial companies out there who are doing great work. So we would like to be able to share that with the developers in Montgomery County who are going to start this journey over the next couple of years and move forward, and we would like it to be successful. So thank you, and please utilize our services. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was perfect timing, Pat. We're now going to take the picture.